Hi, we are going to be making the new Parker and the Porch bags. This is the Love You, and the other one says Mean It. You get 2 bags. This is a number 3 zipper bag. Here's what the front looks like. The inside. And then the back. Okay, you're going to need 6 coordinating fabrics for the front. We're going to be piecing these fabrics together, and then you need a fabric for your back. I'm going to go through it in more detail, but I used these. These are at Walmart. Okay, and they come conveniently in 6 coordinating fabrics. There's several of them. These are just 2 of them. I show you in more detail later in the video which this one is, okay? But I just wanted to show you what we're going to be making. So here it is. Let's get started. I have the Love You file loaded. This is the 6x10 file onto my machine. I'm running a Baby Lock Spirit machine. And I have my hoop with a sheet of cutaway. You can use different stabilizer if you like. You could use poly mesh. You could use tearaway. Just remember, if you're using tearaway, it kind of has a crunchy sound, and this gets left in the bag. So if you don't like that sound, go ahead and use something softer like cutaway. Okay, so the very first step is to go ahead and run step 1 directly onto your stabilizer, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what your placement stitch looks like right there. It went ahead and stitched. This is the top of our hoop in the front, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back down. You can see this is the arm part. So we're gonna go ahead and put the zipper on now. You can see that there's an extra line here. That's a placement for our fabric, which is our next step. So we're gonna go ahead and place our zipper. This is a number 3 zipper bag. So this is what a number 3 zipper looks like right here. It already has the zipper pull on it and stuff. So you just need to look for anything that says number 3 zipper, and it will work with this bag. We're gonna use these top placement lines right here. I just line up along this bottom line right here. I went ahead and marked it. This bottom line right there, okay? So if you want your zipper pull to pull from this side of the bag like this, go ahead and put it on this side. If you want it to pull from the other direction, just switch the other direction. Now you can use a really long zipper if you want. You're going to cut those ends off at the end anyway, so you can use really long if you want. It just has to be longer than your placement stitches right here. It has to be wider than this, and you have to have it long enough so the foot of your machine can get by the end. There's a little metal piece right here, and then to get by your zipper pull over here. So that's how you know you have a long enough zipper. So we're going to go ahead and place this. I'm just going to go ahead and place it where I can just see it right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and tape this down, and then just make sure that it continues. I'm just gonna put tape there, and then I'm gonna put tape down here at the end, okay? So we're gonna go back to our machine. You can see that you can just see the line right there. It's just against the line right there. And then both our sides are past here. I'm gonna go back to the machine, and then it's gonna go ahead and stitch right here underneath. It's gonna jump the zipper teeth and stitch a stitch above it as well, tacking our zipper to our stabilizer. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back to show you what it looks like. Okay, here's what we got. Our zipper is tacked down to our stabilizer here. So we're gonna go ahead, and first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the zipper. I have cutaway. If you have poly mesh or cutaway, if you went ahead and used tearaway, you don't have to do this, but you can actually do this step at the end of the video. If you've watched any of my other videos, I usually do it at the end because I forget. But if you do it right now, then you don't have the risk of cutting your fabric. So I'm gonna go right here. You can tell where the zipper teeth are if you put your finger right here and feel the zipper teeth. You know that the zipper teeth are going along this line right here. So you just cut right above the line that's below that. And I'm just using little snips, they're curved. And then I just slide it across here, and then You're just getting out this so when you turn your bag, you have an opening. Okay, so I just went ahead and just cut out my cutaway right there. So when we flip the bag, you can flip through that hole. Okay, so we got that done. This is on the back side of our hoop, top back, you can see. Okay, so then I'm going to flip it back over and we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, we're going to talk a lot about fabric right now. We're going to do fabric prepping. So this bag is going to have 6 different coordinating fabrics on the front. And if you like to measure all your stuff ahead of time, then you can go to the PDF. There's always a PDF included with Parker on the Porch Designs, and they put what sizes of fabric you need for everything. I do it off of the placement stitches as I work, so I'm going to show you how to do it that way. I'm not going to tell you what the sizes are for each bag because I'm only making right here the 6x10 file size. So it's the 6x10 is going to be different than the 5x7 and the 8x12. So if you're doing any other size bag, this won't work for you. So you need to just learn how to either do the placements, which I'm going to show you how to do, or you can go to the PDF and the PDF will tell you exactly what size to make your fabric. So the first strip right here, you're going to go off of your bottom of your zipper teeth down to this line. It already did the first placement stitch right there, so you know. I kind of overshoot the sizing. You can be a little more precise if you want. I just make sure I have enough. I'd rather have enough than find out I didn't have enough and have to pull out stitches. So I kind of make mine a little bigger than they probably need to be. But keep in mind, you need to flip too. So if you pull this down to the zipper, we're going to flip it like this. So you do need a little more than just what you measure right here. Okay. So let's talk about fabric. These fabrics I got at Walmart, and I'm going to show you, they have these cool little fat quarter packs. This one that I'm using right here is this right here, and it's called Breezy Blossom Assortment 6-pack right there. Okay, and it's the Pioneer Woman. They have these at my Walmart. They have this one as well. Really pretty, and it turned out that they all have like exactly 6 fabrics, so they worked out pretty well. So these are really cool sets. They're already really pretty coordinated sets that you can use for this bag. The other thing that's a good thing that you could use is jelly rolls. Jelly rolls would work really well with this as well. So this is what I have. I already prepped it. So I cut 6 pieces that measure within these lines right here, your placement lines. And then I went ahead and put medium weight interfacing on here to make it more thick, more stable, okay? So it's not flimsy. I ironed them all, and I ironed the fusible medium weight interfacing onto my strips, okay? So I have all my strips ready to go. The other thing you need is 2 liners, which are big enough to go past this. The first one does the flip style, so it could be a little shorter, but I just measure from the top to the bottom, and I cut 2 pieces. So I'm going to use this navy. This is Moda, I think. Let me look. I'm pretty sure it's Moda. Let's see. Right here. It's this one that's 30150. It didn't have the name. Moda Fabrics. It's some sort of grunge navy is what I'm using. That's going to be my liners right here. I have 2 of them, and I ironed them, and you don't need any interfacing or anything on them. Just iron them. And so those are ready to go. You need a back for your bag, and I haven't picked what I'm using for that yet, but we're not at that step, so I'll go into that when I get to that step. But for now, you need these. You need your liner. And then if you want to, you can use batting in this. This is supposed, there's like some quilting lines and stuff in here. So batting is a good choice to add to this bag. So I have 2 pieces of batting. One's going to go on the back and one's going to go on the front. And I just measured it just like my liners, big enough to go over the whole spot. You don't have to use this, but I'm going to. So I'm going to show you how. Okay. So we went ahead and did that. So now the next thing you do is you put your liner on. Grab it right here. Now, I'm on the back side of my hoop. This is the top up here. You can see the zippers right there. I'm going to take the right side of my fabric. Now, this doesn't have directions on it. It's just the right side. I'm trying to see if I have something directional right here that can help you since I'm trying to teach you. So if you had directional, these are unicorns. We're not using this, but let me just use this to help you with directional. Okay, so if you have the unicorns facing me right side up, you're gonna flip it like this. And then once it does the stitching, it will come down and be the right direction, okay? So have them facing you right side up and flip it, and that's how you would do your liner, okay? So right side up, flip it, and then it's just gonna go right here along this line. Pull it down below that line, and then I'm gonna tape it. This is that medical tape stuff. I kind of like it for the bags because my stabilizer is kind of, it just sticks better than regular old Scotch tape. I use Scotch tape too, but this works better for liners that have to stay underneath your hoop. So it's just a medical tape. Okay, so I have that. Now this just stays out of the way for a while, but we have it all taped. You can put another one right here if you think it's gonna move, but I don't move mine too much, so I think I'm okay. Okay, so we have our liner set and ready. Now you need to make sure your liner is long enough when it does that stitch that it's long enough to get past your stitch lines down here. But it should be big enough if you measured like I did over the whole bag, okay? So there you go. Now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna take our first fabric that we wanna use, and I'm gonna put this floral one at the top. And you're gonna go, yeah, I want this one to show first. So right side's towards you. If you're directional, it's like you, right side direction towards you, and then you would go like that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead. I want this flower showing for sure, so I'm gonna start with this side, okay? And then you're just gonna go like that. Now the only thing you wanna make sure, like if you hold it right here, you wanna make sure your fabric's big enough that when you flip it down, that it's gonna get past this stitch line right here that we're going off of, okay? That's all you have to worry about, and make sure that it goes past these lines as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tape this. Actually, I'm gonna put the batting on first and then tape it. Well, maybe not. It might move. Okay, I'm just gonna put tape right here. We're gonna be really religious with our tape this time. Okay, so I got those two. Now, here's my batting. Now batting's gonna go like this as well because you're gonna get it stitched into the bag. So you're just gonna put it the exact same spot as the other one. And now I'm gonna tape again. Now we're gonna go over to our machine and we're gonna make sure that we get this on and we keep our liner up. You don't want your liner folding under. So when I hold this, I just kind of hold it from underneath like this. I put it onto my machine and then I make sure everything is flat and up. And then we're going to stitch the next line, which is just going to stitch one line right here, tacking your liner to our front piece and our batting. Okay, and then I'll come back and I will show you what that looks like. Actually, I'll show this on the machine. I'm going to take you to the machine. Hang on. Okay, we are on the machine. I have the liner up, I have the batting up, and I have that first piece of our front fabric up. Now we're going to go ahead and stitch step 3, which is going to do one line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I will come back and show you. Okay, this is what it looks like. If you need to trim some, like you put it too far down, then just go ahead and make a little trim right here so you don't have a lot of excess because that's going to create bulk in your bag. We're going to go ahead and pull the batting down. Make sure your liner's still up here and just hanging out. That's not going to come down for a while. Now you're going to go ahead and smooth this out, and you're going to go ahead and stitch step 4, which is going to go ahead and put all the other placement lines on here. So leave this up and leave this up. Just pull the batting down, make it smooth, and run step 4. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what we look like right here. It went ahead and did all the other placement stitches that we need. Now you're going to pull down this. You're going to want to make sure you get past this. If you don't, then you need to pull out those last stitches and try again. Okay, so I clearly get past it. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull this down and you're going to smooth it out. You can tape it if you want, like tape here, make it all smooth and nice, and tape here and here. I'm just going to hold it. I'll show you on the first one. Sorry, I'm moving around a lot because I'm one-handed. I'm going to put this down. I need to bring my tripod over here, but my desk really isn't very big over here because it's a center desk. But okay, I'm going to just show you what I do. My hands are clearly out of the way. You can tape it if you want, though. Don't. I just keep smoothing it and making sure it stays. Okay, that is pretty much what we're gonna do 6 times. But I will bring you back to the machine and we will prep the next, or back to my desk and we'll prep the next one. Okay, I'm going to use, these are applique scissors. They're rounded. I'm going to use these to cut this a little closer. Don't cut it too close to where it will pull out of the stitches, but you don't want all this bulk in here either. You don't need it. It will just make your bag thicker. But the other problem that we want to avoid is if your next fabric is a lighter fabric, it could show through, like this bright floral could show through on the next fabric. So you don't want that either. So there's 2 reasons for trimming this. Just gonna get it out. Okay. Now the next thing you're gonna do, you can iron this in between as well. I'm not gonna iron this one. This one looks a little bulkier because you have the folded batting, but the other ones won't. So I'm gonna use this blue next. So what you're basically gonna do is you're gonna flip it. Now, again, remember this works all the time for directional. If you have a directional fabric and you're trying to get something to show, say I want this unicorn head. If you want to get really fussy, then you're going to want to cut this closer and you're going to want the top of this unicorn's head lined up with like right around where this stitch is. So like if you go like this is like fussy. People are going to get really cool with this bag, I'm sure. But if you see right here, I'm getting the unicorn's head lined up right along with that line. Then you know when it stitches that line, when it flips over like this, then that unicorn head will be showing in the next strip. So that you can get really fussy that way as you're going down. None of my fabric really requires that, so I'm just showing you on this first one how to get exactly what you want in that next strip. But remember, on directional fabric for this front, it's going to be, you put it towards you facing you, you flip it straight up, it's going to stitch, and then when you pull it down, it's facing the right way. Okay? So if you had that lined up right there, then these little horsey faces would show. Okay? So mine doesn't matter. I just want to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put my fabric there. It's right sides facing up like that. Pull it down over that line so it catches it. Now you can put tape here. The next one's just going to stitch one line, tacking this down. And then once it tacks down, then we're going to pull it down like we did the first one, and then it's going to go ahead and do the stitch again. Okay, so, okay, I'm going to bring you back to the machine and I will show you this one more time. Okay, we're on the machine. This is all nice and down. My liner is up and out of the way, making sure it's not folded at all. It's pulled up, and we're going to go ahead and stitch step 6. It's just going to go ahead and do that tack down line for you. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what it looks like. If you have excess, go ahead and trim it. Mine was placed pretty well, so it doesn't really have a lot of excess, so I'm not going to trim it. And then you fold it over like that. Go ahead and get it smooth, and then you can tape both sides and run the next step. It's just going to tack down this, or you can hold it like I showed you in the first step. I will show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, this is what we look like. I'm going to go ahead and trim. Okay, I'm going to take my next piece, which I think I was going to do this. Okay, and then you go ahead and place it up, pull it down. You can tape both sides if you want, and then go ahead and run the next step. Okay, this is what step 8 looks like. It went ahead and tacked that fabric down. You can trim it if you need to trim it. Then you go ahead and fold this down. You can tape. I hold it, but you can tape these sides down like this. Get it smooth. You also, at this point, could take an iron and iron this really good. I have a smaller iron, but you can do an iron like that to make it really smooth if you're having issues to holding it down to making it really crisp and smooth. But go ahead and go to your machine and run step 9, which is just going to go ahead and tack this down. I'll come back and show you. Okay, this is what we look like. It goes ahead and tacks it down. And I'm going to trim this excess off because I have extra fabric. Okay, Now we're going to do the exact same thing. So the next fabric I'm going to use is this floral one. So I'm going to go ahead and place it up like this and just get it right below that line. And then I'm going to go ahead and run the next step, which is going to go ahead and tack this down. I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, it went ahead and tacked that. So now we're going to fold it over, get it all smooth. You can tape it down so it stays nice. Now we're going to go back to the machine. We're going to run the next step, which is going to go ahead and tack this front down. I will come back and show you. Okay, it's time to trim. My tape. Get your next color, put it along here, just past that line. Yeah. Okay, go to your machine and run your next step. It's going to tack that down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and trim this. We are on our last one, so I'm going to take my last color. I'm going to flip it up just like that. I'm going to pull it below that line. I'm going to go stitch the next step. It's going to tack it down, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, here we are. If you need to trim, go ahead and trim it. Mine's fine. Now you're going to go ahead and fold this down. Make sure you're getting past all those lines. And then go ahead and tape it or hold it, whatever you prefer. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the machine, and it's going to go ahead and stitch around like this, okay? Tacking this down. I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked that all down. Now the next step, if you need to iron this, go ahead and iron and get it all crisp and flat. The next stitch right here, step 16, right up here, is gonna go and do those quilting lines. So pick whatever color you want. I'm gonna do mine in white, and so I switched to white. I'm gonna stitch that. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. Super cute. All that quilting stitching looks adorable. Now I'm going to switch my thread back to my navy because we're going to stitch the love you now. Now you could make this bag and never stitch the love you and not have words on the bag. You get one bag that says love you and you get another bag that says mean it. So you could skip the words, you can run one or the other, but I'm going to show you how to run the love you bag. So we're going to go ahead and do the next step, which is love you. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my thread to the color I want, and I will show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched all the lettering. It's super pretty. Now, if you want to add anything else, if you added another design, this is where you would stitch it before we do the lining. You would stitch it now. So if you added something, go to that step and stitch it, and then come back when you're done adding, and we are going to go ahead and pull the liner down. That's the next step. So I'm going to flip our hoop over. We're going to pull this liner down. I always have like my fabric too big, but it's okay. It's better than too short, right? So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this down. I'm going to take my tape and make sure that this is all taped down. You don't want this going up into your bag. A lot of times the tape doesn't hold and then it gets twisted and then you have to pull the stitch out and do it again. So I am going to tape this down really well. Now we're going to go back to our machine. We're going to put it on. I put it on gently, and then I always kind of look underneath my hoop to make sure that the liner stayed flat and smooth. We're going to run the next step. The next step is going to go ahead and go down here all the way around these placement stitches, tacking your liner to your bag. Okay, I'm going to go do that. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, we went ahead and got our liner all stitched down. This is what it looks like. Okay, we're going to do our next step, which is to put the back of our bag on the front of our bag. Whenever we do this on any bag that you make that's in the hoop, you need to open your zipper. That's very important. If you don't open your zipper, you can't turn your bag and your bag is ruined. So open your zipper. I open it far enough over that I can flip the bag through this hole, but not so far over that the foot of your machine will hit your zipper pull when it's going around. So you can see the edges right here. I have about that much space between so the foot of my machine can get by it, okay? So that's where we are. Now, if you want to add anything to your bag, this is when you do it. If you want to have these D clips at the top so you can have a crossbody bag or add purse straps to it later, you'll take whatever you need. This is just fold over elastic. I would add something different if I was making a crossbody bag, but I'm just going to show you. You would go ahead and do this. Now, all your hardware would go on the inside of the bag. The way to think about this is at the end, we cut around this entire bag. So anything that's hanging off of the bag gets cut off. So you start out with your hardware on the inside. So if you wanted to add purse straps, you basically, I'm right underneath the zipper right here, the zipper pull. I would probably scoot that in a little bit. I line mine up right underneath the zipper teeth and far enough over, and you would tape right there. I'm like about a finger length away from the edge of the bag, like right there. And then I would take another one and do a finger length and line it up right underneath the zipper teeth and put it right there. And I would tape both of them in right there. Make sure that this part is farther above your zipper right here because it's going to stitch right here. And then you would, when we're done, you would have two D clips right here at the top of your bag that you can add crossbody straps or whatever you want to. That's how you would add that. I'm not going to add hardware. I'm just going to add this little loop, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure I have right sides out. And you can see there's a little loop, and then I put the loop on the inside because we don't want to cut the loop, and I'm just going to add it right here so I can add little charms or something later to this bag if I want to. And now the further you put this in towards your bag, the bigger the loop's going to be. The further you pull it this way, the smaller your loop's going to be. Okay. Now, if you have hardware hanging on this, make sure that it's far enough over that when the foot of your machine goes by here, it doesn't hit hardware. So I'm going to do that. I don't really have hardware, so I'm going to put it right here. This is also how people place their tags when they have their little shop tags that are hanging off the edge right here. They would go ahead and put it face in, right sides out on this side, and then when it's done, it flips over and you can see their little tag. Okay, so I'm going to add this right here. That's all I'm adding. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the back of my bag. I decided to do this floral print. That's this top one. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the back of my bag. So what you're going to do, let me take my unicorns because this is a little different the way you do it. If you have directional fabric, you do the right side of your fabric up towards you. Now, instead of going like this, we aren't flipping the back of the bag, so you don't need to do the flipper style. We are going to go ahead and place it directionally like this. We're going to go to the right like this, okay? So right side's up towards you, your whatever you have facing you, then you're going to flip it sideways like this. Now, if you place it like this, then it will be the right direction when your bag is done, okay? I don't have directional fabric, but I have the right side. I'm going to go ahead and place it like this. Now, I went ahead and I did a sheet of interfacing. This is just like a lightweight interfacing. I'm going to be putting batting on the back of this as well, but I wanted to have this part of my fabric crisp, so I went ahead and added just like a lightweight interfacing to it and ironed it, okay? So you're going to make sure you get past all your stitch lines, top and bottom. Your zipper's open. Anything you want added is added. Okay. So I got all that done. And then you're going to go ahead and take your batting and put your batting over that as well. Okay. Like this. And then just smooth it down. Make sure it's all flat and nice. And then go ahead and stitch your next step. It's going to go all the way around this bag several times, enclosing your bag. Okay. I'm going to go run that. I will come back and show you what mine looks like. Okay, this is what we look like right here. It went ahead and closed the whole bag. Now you're going to flip your hoop over. We are on our last stitch step. Yay! So sorry, that's my iron beeping. Okay, so you're going to take your other liner. Now, if you are directional, let me go here. If you're directional, do right sides towards you, facing up, just like this. Then you're going to flip it like this. That's how you'll place it if you want your fabric face the right direction in the end. I don't have a directional fabric, but here's my fabric right side up, and I'll go ahead and do it like this. Make sure you get past all your stitching lines. Now you're going to close a hole right down here through your liner, so I always leave a little bit of extra liner down here versus up here, okay? So just like that. I'm going to take my tape, tape these corners really well. Sorry, my little doggy's barking. Okay, we're going to go back to the machine. We're going to put this on your hoop. Make sure your liner doesn't move, like double check it, and then run the last step. It's going to do basically what it just did, but leaving a hole right here. Okay, I'm going to go do that. I will come back. Okay, this is what the front top of your hoop looks like. This is what the underneath back of your hoop looks like. We're going to go ahead and take this off of our hoop now because we are done stitching. And now I always flip to this side where I can see where the opening is. This side shows it all completely closed. So I always, on bags, I always flip to the back. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut all the way around here. So I'm going to go ahead and come at an angle where this stops right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn. Okay, hang on a sec. Okay, sorry, my dogs were barking and I needed to go put them away so they don't bark. I have 3 dogs, so I get constant barking, sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut all the way around here. Like this. Just don't cut your stitches, okay? And then here, you're going to stop where the stitches stop right there, and then you're going to turn out, and then you're going to cut all this. You don't need any of this. I'm going to throw all this away. Okay. Now you need your liner, so I'm going to flip this liner up. You have 2 pieces. See your hole? That's your liner. These 2 pieces need to go up because you don't want to cut those. Now I always just fold my bag like this so I can hold it. See how I'm holding that out of the way? And then I flip it over so I can see the lines. You can't see the lines over here, so I cut from this side. Okay, now when you cut this, you want to cut straight across. Don't angle your scissors like this. If you angle like this, then you're going to end up cutting into your fabric. So make sure you're straight. And I'm just going to cut across this because you don't need any of this. It's just extra bulk, okay? So you get that out of your way. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and flip our bag. So you have a hole right here. You're going to flip through this hole. And I just like get my hands in here. Smaller bags are a little harder to flip. If you have vinyl on your bags, it's a little harder to flip. Just take your time. You don't want to rip your stitches on either side of this. Okay, I just push the corners out. And then you get on this side, okay? Then I use this. There's lots of different turning tools that you can use. I use this to get my corners out. So I just go into the bag, and point it up, like that. Get your corners all nice and out. Okay, so normally this is the second spot where I'm going to cut these 2 little threads right here. It always has 2 little threads right here. This is the spot where you normally would still have the cutaway would be right here. You'd see cutaway between here, and you can cut it now. We already cut it when we first did our zipper, but you would just cut and go along this. I have other videos, previous videos, where I cut it now. It's still in here, but we cut it ahead of time, so now you don't run the risk of cutting your fabric right there. If you have tearaway, you would just open this now and pull your tearaway out. So, but we're going to go ahead and close this bottom. There's a few ways you can close this bottom. There's not a right or wrong way. You just need to find what works for you and what you like. I've been using this peel and stick tape for a while now. I didn't start out using this. I'm trying to find the package for you. Hold on. This peel and stick fabric fuse tape works really well. It took me a minute to get the hang of it. It always was so sticky and was in my way. So I used to use fabric tack glue, so I'm going to show you that as well. This is fabric tack glue. I would just like go ahead and glue it together and then just let it sit for a minute, and then it dries really fast, like 5 minutes or less, and you're good to go. So you're more than welcome to use glue. Some people ladder stitch their bags, so if you know how to do that, you can do that. I'm going to use this. I'm going to show you how to use this. So basically it's just double-sided sticky tape. There's basically a coating on the side, paper or whatever it is. And so I go ahead and I put this directly on the stitch lines right here. And you can see the stitch lines like that. I just line it up with that top stitch line. Once you get to the end, I just tear it. It just tears really easy. And then I push it down really well. Sometimes it's hard to get it started, so I always try to like spend extra time pushing it down, making sure it's really adhered to it. Okay, then I go ahead and flip this over. You see your openings right here? You're gonna basically sandwich these two. So I take my thumb and I flip that in and get it how I want it to be. Now you have batting in here, so it's gonna be a little more poofy, but this is kind of what it's like when you put vinyl on the bottom too, if you're doing one of the other bags that have appliques at the bottom. Okay, so now you're just gonna line this up how you want it. I get both of mine exactly how I want it, like this. And if you're using like a bigger bag, like you're doing bigger than this is the 6 by 10. But if I'm doing like the 7 by 11 or 8 by 12 or even bigger, I always just get one side and keep it together like that. These are just Wonder Clips. And I just have it hold so it stays straight, so you don't have to readjust it when you have all this sticky going on. So what you're going to do now is I just kind of open right here and I try to get this started. You're going to peel back. You're going to peel back this. Now the key is to do it a little bit at a time. If you like pulled a big piece of it, then it's just really sticky and your fingers are sticking to it and it's a mess. So I always just do a little bit at a time, and I just pull some of it back and then I push it together with firm pressure and it just sticks together. And as you go, you can pull that off and just keep it straight and perfect. Okay. Okay, when you're at the end and you have to pull this out, usually some of the fabric comes with it, but if you pull it slowly, sometimes it'll stay in there. If it does pull out, then I just take this point part and I put it back in, okay? And then you just go ahead. Now, the other thing I do, let me just get it really well. If there was a point at the very end or the beginning where it didn't like close really well and you have a little poof thing right there, then I use glue and I just glue it a little bit in that corner and push it down and let it sit for the 5 minutes, and then it's really smooth and perfect. But I didn't run into that this time. You can see that it's closed. There's no glue or anything. It's completely sealed and it looks great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip again, but we're going to flip through this side where your zipper was. So flip it out. Okay, now you want to get your corners really nice. I'm going to get my iron going because we're going to want to iron it. Okay, now I'm going to use this and get my corners really nice because that's the last time you're going to flip. So take the time to get your corners out and get it really perfect because this will make your bag look better. Okay. Flip that. And push it down. Okay, and get your zipper all nice. Okay, I'm going to iron it really quick just to... Okay. Okay, so here you go. This is the bag. This is the love you side. The other side says mean it, I believe. Okay, so there's that. There's the front. There's the back. You can see there's my little loop. If you went ahead and put the D-clips, they would be up here right now if you did that step. Okay, and then you open it. It's completely lined and sealed. There's no exposed seams or anything. Super cute. Can't wait to see what you guys make. Okay, so if you, under this video, it has a picture of me, I believe, or a picture of the Panda Kisses thing. If you go ahead and hit the show more right under this video, under my picture, then it will show you the links to the Parker on the Porch website, what the name of the bag is called, and different links and stuff that she uses, as well as you have a PDF when you buy this file. And on top of that, if you go, Parker on the Porch does a blog. So when she posts all of, Jen is the owner, when she posts all of her bags and stuff for the week, if you go there, it shows the materials that she used. So it will show what batting she used and also where she gets the zippers and all sorts of stuff. So you can find different things there as well. So you can either look down here in the show more, you can go to the Parker on the Porch Facebook group, and in there she has a blog that shows what materials she used. There's all sorts of resources for you, but here is the bag. I hope this helped you make it. And thank you for sewing with me. I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you so much. Give it a thumbs up and a follow if you liked this. That helps me. Thank you.